Hi guys, here we go again. I hope not, but it certainly sounds like that. A journalist asked a politician about stopping the boats. So a reporter from Sky News asked what success in stopping the boats looked like. Has Keir Starmer been painted into a corner by the Tories and their ridiculous policy on stopping the boats? Rishi Sunak's idiotic pledge seems to have set the narrative also for Labour. Starmer compared stopping the boats to stopping smuggling or terrorism. He also referred to the Rwanda bill as a gimmick. Is he right?
Can I push you, Keir Starmer, on the specifics of what success looks like? You talked there about getting the numbers down materially. What does that mean? Does that mean halving small boat crossings? Does that mean eradicating them entirely within a first Labour term? And to be specific about the cancellation of the Rwanda scheme, can you answer explicitly, does that mean no flights taking off from the moment you become Prime Minister?
Let me deal with those in two parts. Look, we do need to dramatically reduce the numbers. Obviously, I'd like it to come down completely. I'm not going to put a false number in it, but I'm not going to shy away from the fact that this needs to materially reduce. These numbers need to come right down. And to do that, we have got to stop the vile trade that is running it in the first place. Now, I have seen that done, as I've said, in relation to terrorism, in relation to drug smuggling and gun smuggling. It can be done, and when you do it, you stop. In a terrorist case, you stop a planned operation or whatever it may be. One of the proudest things I did at the Crown Prosecution Service was Operation Overt, which was a plan to bring down 7 aeroplanes at the same time as they were crossing the Atlantic. You can take very effective action and therefore to reduce those numbers. But
you're comparing apples and oranges here. So when you're talking about terrorism, you're talking about people, a group of people who want to damage Britain. So you can focus on that group. You can also work with the international community, international organizations, Interpol or whatever, because the focus is on that group who want to damage Britain. That can't be compared to asylum seekers. When you're talking about smuggling, this is about sending goods, be it weapons or drugs or whatever, into Britain. These are not people. When it comes to asylum seekers, these are people who want to get to Britain. When it comes to the terrorists, it's not about they want to get to Britain, they want to damage Britain. That's completely separate. When it comes to smuggling, that's not about people, it's not about drugs or whatever trying to get into Britain, it's about people trying to send them in. So comparing asylum seekers who want to come to Britain and are using criminal gangs in some cases or other organizations to achieve that, this is part of the problem here. You're comparing two different things and you're saying, okay, what we can do is try and use the approach from A with B, but B is completely different.
It does require serious coordination, serious action of the sort that we've set out today. And this is the complete opposite of a gimmick. I'm not going to pretend this isn't hard work. That's why I said at the beginning, I'm not going to pretend this is an easy thing. You just flick a switch and this is... But it is hard work based on my experience of having done this in relation to other gangs. And as I say, I do not accept that this outfit, this operation is any more sophisticated than the ones that I've already had to deal with.
It's not about whether it's sophisticated or not. It's about the goal. Because you have people in different parts of the world who want to get to Britain. If you create a safe route, you'll eliminate the gangs. If your idea is, okay, your focus is we want to get rid of these criminal gangs. Okay, you can do that pretty much overnight if you say we create safe routes for people to come to Britain. Because the business model would fall apart. They would go off and do something else. But if you're just removing one criminal gang, then another one will spring up because the market remains.
As others have dealt with. But look, so far as Rwanda is concerned, we will cancel the scheme. We don't think the policy is going to work and we think it costs a fortune. So, of course, that means we won't operate the scheme at all. I'm not interested. It's a gimmick. I'm not going to flog a dead horse. I'm going to waste my time on gimmicks. And this is about political capital. Because the Prime Minister has chosen to put his political capital, which is considerable, behind the Rwanda scheme. I would put my political capital into the setting up the command and working with other governments to ensure that it works effectively. And that is about choice, but that's the choice I would make.
Now, he's taken a bit of a risk here by saying that he'll get rid of the Rwanda policy, the Rwanda scheme. There's a risk there because I don't know what the polling is. Probably he's done some polling and he realizes, look, there isn't support for the Rwanda policy. There isn't even significant support for it in the Conservative Party. The current Home Secretary called it batshit, crazy or batshit. So it makes sense to get rid of it. But I still think there's still a risk of coming out and saying we're going to get rid of it, because what the Tories may try to do as we get closer to the election is try and convince more and more people to leave, give more and more money to get people on flights so that they can turn around and say, see, it is working, but Keir Starmer is going to get rid of it. Keir Starmer doesn't want to deal with immigration. Keir Starmer is not serious. So there will be a bit of back and forth, I think, as we get closer to the election. There is a risk in abandoning it. Now, does it make sense to? Yes, logically it does. Politically, there's a bit of a problem, perhaps. But it means, once again, that Starmer is saying, look, this is a gimmick. I'm not interested in gimmicks. I want to introduce a real policy. Now, is his policy a real one? Well, we'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to say that it's going to fail, but we have to wait and see what he actually is going to implement and how it works. But if it's about treating asylum seekers like criminals or like smuggled goods, then I'm afraid it's not going to work. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.